plastic welding. Oh, and reinforcing. You see, lots of these machines these days come with like plastic trims and covers and what have you for belts and God knows what else. But being plastic, they break quite easy, they crack. So, I was going to show you how you can fix that using a plastic welding poo-poo. Right? And this is one from, so I think from Timu actually, it's quite cheap. It's about 12 quid, including the whole load of the consumables, like you see there. Now, Lidl's Parkside do one as well, and I don't know how good it is. This thing is pretty good, alright? I'm quite impressed with it, especially considering it costs like €12. It's cheap as chips. And it came with a whole load of these little things as well, but I bought a whole load more, alright? So I got my spares over here, alright? Now the thing about it is that when you use this to repair a crack, you leave this inside, and it's a physical metal connection, stainless steel connection in the crack. But the thing you'll watch out for, if you look at what I've done here, I've got a little hand clamp on there and a piece of wood behind it, and it just helps keep the two sides of the crack together. Otherwise, you're at risk of you're going all the way through as well when you're doing that, because it does get really, really hot. So what we're going to do is we're going to attempt so you can see that is. Alright, let's put that like that, or is it like that? Maybe like that. Oh, that'll do. It's there. Alright? So, I've got this here, it's plugged in, and all I do is, I don't heat it up straight away. I put it on where I want it to go first, and then I press my little trigger, alright? Like so. If you heat it up first, it gets too hot and it just melts straight through in seconds. Alright? I've melted into it. I'm going to push it over a little bit to the side because that locks it in. Okay, and as it cools down, I've got my finger off the trigger now, and I just remove the tool, and I'm left with a little piece of metal in there. Can you see that? Oh my God, there's water everywhere. I just washed this. Right, there's that little bit of metal in there. Okay, just there. Okay, now that has provided me with a mechanical fixing, like putting a screw in your bit of wood or a nail, alright? What we've done here is we've bridged the crack with this little bit of metal. And I'm going to do that several times along the crack. One's not enough, alright? Now I did try to fix it before by welding it with a soldering iron. It didn't work. It just cracked again, no time at all. So I'll put several of these along there. You can put on inside or outside. I'm doing the inside because the outside, I don't want to mess it up, do I? You know, it's painted on the outside at the moment, but we're going to be repainting all these to white instead of silver. So, what's that colour? Disgusting, isn't it? You know, what's that about? It's not even that old. The camera, it's about 2008 or 2009. So it's a bit of an ugly thing to have. So I'm melting it in there like so. Don't breathe the fumes in because remember they're plastic. So some form of chemical mask would be good. I don't have a chemical mask. I don't think I might have. Well, actually, I might have actually. Right, so there you go, that one's in there. And I'll grab another one. And I'll keep doing it all the way along the crack. There's all different types of these, different shapes and sizes. So push that in, you push that in there like that. See these two little holes? Push that in there like that. Right, this isn't the only stage. I'll show you the next stage in a moment. So I'm going to put a different sort along there. On this area here because it's on the bend, so I'm going to use one of the different ones. So I'm literally just going to cram a load of these in. Alright, that's reinforcing the crack. Right, pull that off. That other one I was saying a minute ago, I'm going to use a different type. One of those ones? Not that one. One of these ones, that'll do. Right, so what we're going to do is, if you look out on this one here, it isn't so wide as this one. I can't get that one right into the bend, you see, and that's where the crack is originating from. So obviously it's important that we do that as well. Currently, this is right near the one of the front doors of the camper, and it's causing all sorts of grief. It keeps catching the door because of the broken bits. So I've got to sort that out. So I can push that in there. Put a few of those in there. That's it. That one's in. You can't exactly see it because it's. So I've put one right in the corner. I know you can't see that one, I don't think. You see what I've been doing, look, can you see that? There's one there, one there, one there, one there, one there. There's 4 so far. And I know you can say, well, the little metal bits sticking out. Now, some of these come with like little nicks in here, so you can break them off easy. These ones don't. So you've got to cut them off with some more, side cuts will do the job. So do the same with that one, push that in there. And then I think one more, because it's right on that corner. Right, that's in there. So if they're in the way, you could just start cut them off as you go. And I might end up doing that actually. Where are my cutters? That's a good point, isn't it? Oh, they're hanging up there. So I'm going to wheel myself over here. Shut my drawers as I go. Oh my god, can you see my fat belly? I don't give a damn. There we go. Back I come. Alright. So you pair of wire cutters like that, side cuts, alright? And you can get them in there and just nip them off like that. Like so, as close as you can get. You can grind them off if you like with a Dremel. I'm not really at that stage yet, because I'm going to make sure that these are locked in properly in a moment, using another tool. You could just use a soldering iron if you wanted to, but I'll show you in a moment what I'm going to use. Because I've got it, and it'll work perfectly. So I've just cut all them off. It's on the inside, so it doesn't affect anything. This doesn't push up against anything, it's just a void. So now I can get another one of those straight ones on that edge. Now I'll show you the other, as you see, there's another repair got to be done here. And as you see, it's a bit missing. That makes it a little bit more complicated. So effectively what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a piece of plastic to insert into that. One last one on this one, and maybe a couple more up here. Alright. You've got to make sure it's locked in. So as you just go into the surface, so below the surface, just pull it to one side. And what that happens then is your piece of metal gets trapped in the plastic as it cools down. I'll put a couple more along there because you can see the crack goes all the way up there. It's less of a problem up there because it's not at the beginning, it's at the end. But I don't want it to progress, I don't want to get any worse. I could start putting them this way, I suppose. On there, I'll do that. Yeah, do that, that's fine. So if you've got a plastic trim that's cracking on your machine, and you don't know what you're going to do with it, just get one of these. These work. I've done it on the food things now, and they do really work. I'm really impressed with it. I know it's not pretty, but it does the job. And if you do it from behind, and if you can level the crack up properly on the other side, you can barely see it. You can even super glue it first, and then go from behind. The super glue becomes. Oh, I haven't really gone deep enough for that one. So you can put it back on again if you want, and then start again with it. Yeah, that's in there. That's it. Okay. Now the next stage with this piece, I'll show you. I can remove that clamp now with a bit of wood on. I think. Right. I'll show you the other side in a minute. I don't know how good it is, how aligned it is, but I can clean it up. We're going to be painting this on the other side anyway. Right, so I'm just nipping them all off like so. As you can see, we've now got a whole load of little metal reinforcements holding the crack together. And there's the crack on this side. Okay, so now when I clean this up now and get the old soldering iron, in this case I'm going to be using a pyrography iron to melt that flat into each other, and then I can sand it off. I can even use a bit of filler on there now if I wanted to, because it's not going to move, it's not going to crack out as quickly, as long as it's not too thick. As you see, as I move it along, that's actually intact now. There's signs of a crack this way as well, actually, see? But that one's still intact, we'll leave that one alone. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my pyrography iron here. This is the one with the Neo Wasset wire, I can't really call it now. But before I turn that on, let's straighten it out a little bit. Let's turn that on. I've got it on 600 degrees. Hot if you want, but And now what I'm going to do is going to flatten it off a little bit on the back here. That'll lock the metal in. That'll get red hot, that will. There you go. Mind you don't inhale. You don't inhale that plastic, burning plastic, do you? So all I'm doing is I'm just covering over the metal with the plastic. It kind of locks it in even more. You know, if there's any exposed bits, you just make it a little bit stronger. So I'm just going over. Alright, it's fun, you know. Oh my giddy, I'm going to get high. All the cyanide gases. I'll get something. Right. So I'm basically, as you can see, I'm just like helping it a little bit. I'm not going to worry about removing, you know, flattening the little bits of plastic, metal right out of the way with the grind. There's no point because no one's going to see it. No one's going to see it and no one's going to feel it. You don't put your hands there and it's not sitting on anything. In this case, you might want to do something different. Anyway, I've made doubly certain of it now. Okay. This is a pyrography iron here, it's a little box, and then you got your pyrography hat tool like so. So now that is strong. So I'm just going to tidy the outside up a bit, make sure that is adhered. So when I paint it, it doesn't crack. At least now it's not going to. It's be a bit stronger than it was. Put it like that. And I'll fill this accordingly. So you can put these on both sides if you wanted to. So I'm just strengthening it up a little bit to get more of a surface finish. I'm not that worried if you, obviously. Time I've rubbed that down and painted it, you wouldn't know. But you know, it's like the machines and that, you know, I've got a radial arm saw over there. I had one with the black plastic cover on the top, it cracked right through. I wish I had one of these then, I could have sorted that out. Because it was annoying, I kept flopping on things. Flopping about. You can't have a floppy tool, can you? No. Right, so that one I'm happy with. I'll just sand that flat. And now we're going to do one which has actually got a void in it. Got a hole there. Alright, can you see that hole? We're going to fill that hole using the same tool. It's going to be a bit trickier. But I'm going to be using some bits of plastic that I've got kicking about here as a way to fill it. Now you could bend a bit of plastic so it goes right round like so to speak. In fact, I could almost cut a bit off to do that if I wanted to. But being as I haven't, and I ain't got nothing that prepped up to do that. Oh, hang on, that might do it. That might do it. Okay. Yeah, that'll do it. I do have something prepped up to do it. Okay, I'm just going to get my tin snips. Believe it or not, these are ideal just for cutting the plastic. I'm not going to try and cut this back and make that bigger. I think I can get away with not doing that. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cut a piece of this out and actually place it in there and then melt it into place. Now you can pre-melt it first. You can, you know, try and get it in there and sort of melt around there and, you know, make it all sort of like stuck in place so it becomes like a clamp. But what I'm going to do first, before I do anything like that, I'm actually going to melt the edges back. And what that'll do is thicken the edges of the plastic, okay, as it melts back a bit, and create a more of a uniform shape. To, yeah, that plastic well thickened, I'll be able to use that to ride over. And also I'll be able to shape this up a bit more square. A bit more square. Line that up a little bit there. God, I've got so much to do with the old camper before we go away. Because me and Debbie are going away over Christmas, you see, in the camper in France. So, yeah. Right, there we go. That was there. Just put that one there as well. Right, so I've made it bigger, but I've actually thickened the edges have become thicker, which gives me something to play with then, doesn't it? Now I'm going to cut this into that shape. What was it in here? Right, let's do the time warp again. I don't need to worry about the edge that's going that way, because I'll use it to hold it if I need to, you see. So I'm just worried about fit it into that space, and then I'll worry about trimming it back afterwards. At the minute, I'm just going to nibble it in. do with your belter back even. It's not the prettiest thing, alright, but it's all about function. And as long as you've got something that's solid in there, you'll be able to get it to hold, to hold together, and then you can do what you need to do to make it prettier. Alright, I might do the rest of that with the pyrography iron. Right, so I'll weld that into there, and then we will do the next stage. Yeah, that's sort of it. Oh, nearly. Move that out of the way. So, that one there. Try not to breathe the fumes in. A fan would be a good idea, actually, on your bench and just blowing it away from you. I should have done that. That would have been a good idea. That would have worked nicely, I think. Okay, so I'm just cutting between the two, and effectively, you can't see it, I know, but I'm actually just running the blade between the two pieces of plastic, so I'm melting both bits at the same time at the moment. That's it. That'll do it. Let's make sure that's more that way. That's effectively melting that into place there. So I'm just manipulating it with the heat, melting the plastic as I go. Let's see if we can get you a bit closer. Do you want to get? So let's bring a bit closer on this one, because this one's fiddly. Da, 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 da. I'm sure you had enough to see my beautiful face. So, as you can see there, alright, I sort of like stuck it into place. Now I need to carry on with that and just keep titillating it until I'm satisfied it's going to hold while I put the metal reinforcements in. Because this alone will not hold. That I do know. Been there, done that, and it failed. I've done a few things with the metal welding at the so far, and I'm really impressed how well it works. Right, that one there's probably sticking out too far. Let's get that over there. This is the bit where it keeps catching the door. I'll tell you, these campers now, how much money they cost. You know, when ours was new, that was probably, I don't God knows what much that cost. It was probably like 60, 70 grand or something, if not more. I don't know. They're a lot of money, aren't they? Yeah, obviously mine's not new, mine's old. 2008 is. It would be nice if they built them properly. Okay, we've got that one there like so. Alright, as you can see, a little bit of plastic offside like that. And now I can clean that up a little bit, maybe. I'll do it before I do that a bit. So try and, you can add a bit more plastic into it if you want to. So you can get it from both sides. So what you can do is literally just melt more plastic into it. You've got to be quite ferocious with that. You can't just like stick it on the surface. You have to, if you want it to stick, that is, you've got to really melt it so both surfaces are melting together. Otherwise, it'll just be a void in between, and then if water gets in, it'll just freeze and fall off. So I'm just adding a bit more plastic, reinforces it, and then I'll put the metal reinforcements in from the back end. This end I'll just basically sand it and flush it off. That's better. It's getting better by the minute. A bit more. I really wish that I put a fan up. Not a football fan, fan. As a fan. So you've got to make sure you go all the way through that first layer of plastic so it sticks to the second layer. Otherwise it'll just be on the surface of it. That's it, it's better. There's other tools for doing this. You can get like tools with like a flat, like a trowel end, got a spatula end on it, so it's you can flatten off easier. I'm not worrying about that. This will do the job. Okay. Well, I'll leave that alone there. But you can see I've kind of like filled. You can lick your finger and you can squeeze it while it's still soft and squeeze it so it's flat. Sort of manipulate it with your fingers. It gets hot, so you've got to lick your fingers. A pot of water nearby. Squeeze that in like so. Alright, this was pretty beaten up, as you know. As you saw, before you criticised me. Oh, we can that's so ugly. Right, suits me, you see. It's nearly as ugly as me. So, remember, right, we shove these in this in hard like so because the welding's not going to be enough on its own. You might think it will, but it won't. So I'm going to do that one there first because it's got a crack up to the screw hole. Now I can melt that into there nicely. Once it cools down, I can pull it out like so. Just push it down if you like. That locks it in if you like. Well, it's still soft. So that one's good. So I'm going to put a few of them along there to lock the plastic into place with these little little bits of metal. Just make sure that there becomes a permanent repair. Well, I'll say permanent, it might happen again, but you know, it's less likely. It's less likely. It's either that or trying to get... These things are expensive. I did check out the price of trims from Rymore, who builds these campers. And you can still get the trims, but fucking hell, they're so expensive. Not worth it. Right, there we go. And I think I need one more, or two more on the edge. So we get the straighter ones for that, I think. Where's my box? Let's see. One of those, and another one of those. There we go. So I'll cut the these out of the way first, because they're going to get in the way. So I'll nip them off. Well, that sounds not pretty. But it works. And it's a cheap tool. You know, this tool here is about 12 quid. 12 euros it was from Temu. But remember, it's hot. And remember these gases that come off when you heat plastics. So either wear a mask or have a fan pushing the fumes away from you. So I'm just putting that one into there. Let it cool down. That's it. That's it. One last one, I think, and then that'll be it, I reckon. And then a bit of a TLC. There we go, done. Just need to cut them off. Well, they ping off, so make sure you're wearing safety specs or glasses or something, because they'll get you in the eyes, they will. Have I got more? I think I've got more. Yeah, I got them. Alright, so now I'll go back onto the old thingy tool, this melty device. Soldering will do the job. And if you get one, the soldering that's got like all the little flat spatula bits with it as well, it'll be quite handy. Where's the little button? This button on here is really hard to push down, so I've got this bit of tyre and a bit of wood, so I can use that as a lever. It was a thing I did, sort of as a last minute, you know, decision kind of thing, or idea, and it's been on there ever since. Oh, got to turn it on again. God, it's so much stronger. So I'm just going to make sure that this is all secured over the top of the metal reinforcements. So I'm just basically just folding those bits over to make sure of it. They're not going to rust, they're stainless steel, so. And you could add a load more plastic into it if you want to. You know, melt a load more into the top of it. I don't think I need to. If the other repairs that I've done are anything to go by, I really need a flat spatula. I know you can get one. You can get one actually for the welding tool. Right, across here, make sure they're locked in. And there, I'll cut that off. I'll do that with the iron. I'll just melt through it. Flatten it. Flatten the outside. I need to be a little bit careful because if this is sticking out too far, it's going to interfere with the door again. So I'm going to try and manipulate that back a little bit so it doesn't interfere with the door. Now I get heat gun on there and I can actually fold it back if I wanted to, because this plastic does kind of allow for that. I'm just there's paint on there which doesn't help. Probably a good idea to rub it off first, wouldn't it? When you heat this up like so, I'll be able to, if I warm it up along here, all those areas that are catching the door, I can kind of manipulate them back a little bit. So there you go, that'll do. Now it's a case of doing a bit of TLC and making it a little bit prettier. So we've reinforced all the inside. Heat problems I know, but look, strong. Yeah, got a little bit of TLC there to do. You see there, I ain't done that bit yet. So we'll just surface weld that together, just hold it together on the edge. It's not moving, it's not flexing now, so that's a good sign. So just make sure that's not. I'm going to sand all this down, you see, and maybe fill it a little bit as well, and then I can paint it. So this is a part of the old motorhome, but if you have got machines that have plastic trims, or even the hand power tools, even cordless drills where you've lost some of the material for where the battery clips onto because you've dropped the drill a few times. Been there, done that, you could use this tool for that. The plastic welding poo-poo. Okay, that'll do. Alright, so there you go. That's nice and strong again. Yeah, moving it back, right, twisting it, right, yeah, it's not cracking. So that's a good sign. Ooh, no, wait. There we go. So there you go. It's definitely worth investing in one of these little gadgets. Alright, this one's on Timu. Parkside do one, you can get more industrial ones, but this does the job, you know? Don't seem to be any problems with it, and it's more solid than it looks. It looks really like plastic in oil, but it's actually quite thick plastic. So, yeah, if you've got any covers, plastic covers that need repairing or anything, in fact, that's happen to be plastic, and you can melt it, you can repair it using one of them. Anyway, beat the old like button. Toodaloo.